For some reason, I'm feeling a little techno crazy these past couple weeks. I found myself in conversations with some Twitter colleagues about not just digital citizenship, but having more control over the digital content that I post into some pretty wide communities. Some stuff as simple as Facebook and Instagram, but some a little bit more complex, let's say like Twitter, YouTube, and even onto my own WordPress website. So here's where my brain is at right now. There's something in me that wants to do two things. I want to start speaking to digital ownership at a clearer level with my students. And I feel in some ways that I've moved, or maybe as a digital community, we've moved through the comfort zone, that itchy comfort zone of storing things in the cloud. And I'm not quite sure if I've done a great job of discussing the deeper implications of safe navigation in the digital world. You know, what I mean by that is that it's the early conversations that I was a part of was making sure that you post positive, making sure that you're not giving away your credentials, making sure that when you're interacting with others on there that you see them as real people. And I'm starting to look a little bit deeper at this and wondering how is it that I could exist in these communities, because they are valuable. I mean, it is what I call my professional learning network, and there's real people in that, and there's real people in it all the time. Some of them I only meet digitally, some of them I get to meet actually, some of them I get to meet in both forms. But here's the thing. When I post stuff online, I want to be entirely aware of ownership. I want to be able to make these things expire if I want to. I want them to be disappeared if I don't want them to be found again necessarily. And I'm starting to look at some of these digital spaces where I've stored and posted as more like relationships, ones that I'm able to manage and not necessarily forever. And I'm not trying to say this in any harsh fashion, but well, to give a for instance, I got into a great conversation with Andrew Campbell, and we were just hashing out in bits and pieces what the potential cost would be to be able to set absolute expiry dates and to control ownership on Twitter, and also not to have any ads posted to our feed. So that was one conversation that got me thinking about this. Another conversation was with, another Andrew, and Andrew Dobby, who refurbishes and re-images desktop computers. Now, this is sort of a wide lens on this one, but he really got me thinking about repurposing, and he got me thinking about the stuff that I just hadn't really been paying attention to. Besides the fact, the session that I had gone to with him about, re-imaging old desktops with a Linux OS it was mind-blowing. You have a completely usable computer for what you need in the classroom, let alone the fact that it's a wireless desktop, which is really handy. You only have to get powered and then it works in your classroom. So I had this sort of innovative frame with Andrew Dobby, and then Andrew Campbell was more structural around how do I get deeper ownership of my digital content. And the second layer to that was also, how do you get into even that conversation with Twitter about a subscription rate? I forget the number that we landed on. Maybe it was like $6.99 a month or $9.99 a month. And the number was a little bit arbitrary, and I haven't had the chance to follow up with Andrew. But that's something that's got me thinking about, like I said, that ownership. Would I be willing to pay a subscription rate to own my content? The final one, and I'm forgetting the gentleman's first name, I think it might be Doug Belshaw. He got me thinking about, so he's left Twitter. He's left Twitter altogether, as in, creating new content for Twitter. The only thing he uses Twitter for right now are kind of like promotional posts for his website. What he does now is he does most of his interactions, I guess, on his own server. So he is entirely in control of his content. No ads, no filler, 100% his content. And this is just an underlying, I guess, theme for me as I move forward into this school year is, how do I get my fingers deeper into my own content choose which communities I want to share it to, keep advertisement, and keep any sort of promotional stuff that isn't my content off of my content. And finally, exploring what the cost of that would be, because I feel like that's something important to be able to speak to with my students. Anyways, thanks for listening to me this morning. If you want to reach out and have a chat, funny enough, you can find me at Chris J. Clough on Twitter. You can also find me on WordPress at Chris J. Clough. Take care.